Delicious to one. I think we can make that work. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cards and Coffee. Now, with the most recent ban list, Delicious Memories now at 1, and the Purrely deck is looking a lot less consistent. No longer can we freely get access to plump, stacking our materials, and of course, building this noir for our opponent's turn. But today, I'm going to be showcasing my Purrely Spright deck that not only gets you easy access to plump, but has a really cool way at getting a level 1 as a material. That way, when you make your noir, it'll still have the quick effect to spin things back. But first, as always, before we jump into the deck profile, please go grab yourself a cup of coffee or something. That way you guys can sit down and tune in. Let's do this. Alright, so like I mentioned, now that we have only one Delicious, you're either going to have to hard draw it or get lucky to hit it off of the My Friend Purrely. There are other options as well. You could be running something like Foolish Burial Goods, or you can even just be playing a blind second list as well. That way you can kind of search the pieces you need with happiness. All these are super viable options, and I haven't figured out exactly which one I prefer, but I've been having so much fun with this variant, I just had to show what it can do, and so many people have brushed it to the side because they just assume the plump won't have a level 1 as material, so your noir won't have a quick effect, which is not true at all. But without wasting any more time, hopping into the main deck, starting off with the Purrely stuff. Of course, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Purrely, and I'm only playing 2 copies of Purrely Lily. No matter what build you're playing, you can make an argument to be running 2 already, but the fact that we have all these other monsters in the deck, I definitely don't want to clog with these Purrely monsters in hand. And then, of course, after that, a bunch of standard stuff. 3 My Friend Purrelys, 3 of the Pretty Memory, 3 of the Sleepy Memory, 3 of the Happy Memory, and of course, just, you know, the 1 Delicious Memory. Again, there's not much to explain. This is all fairly standard, but the one thing that I am doing a little different is only running the 1 Purrely Yeep. At one time, I was running 3, but I just didn't like drawing it going second. Plus, technically, even though I can't hit it off of My Friend Purrely now, I could just search it with Purrely Lily rather than trying to get it with My Friend. Now, of course, there is the argument that you really need to establish My Friend early to really keep up in card advantage, but for me, I just really wanted to make some room for some non-engine. But again, you could definitely mess with this number. There's no reason why you couldn't run 3 as well. So that's it for the Purrelys. Nothing really too fancy or anything different than the usual. Now for our discard package, we are playing 3 copies of Nimble Angler. This is one of the best and craziest combo pieces to discard off of your quick play spells. Obviously, with it, we are going to be playing 3 copies of Nimble Beaver. This again is a normal summon for the deck, which is again why we cut the Purrely Lily down to 2. Not only is this technically a rank 2 that in theory could get you plump, but it also branches into your Spright cards as well, which is actually really important for setting up the level 1 Purrely as a material. But as for the Sprites, I'm actually opting to run 3 blue. I have been debating on putting this down to 2, but I am also playing 1 jet, 1 red, 1 carrot, 1 starter, and the way we get the level 1 Purrely as material, the 1 Spright double cross. So many people forget this can target a monster on the field or in either player's graveyard to attach to an Exceed as a material. So I think it's pretty straightforward. You'll basically go full Spright combo. You'll use jet to search the double cross. You'll make yourself the plump. You'll attach a couple of spells on your turn, and then of course when it passes to your opponent in the draw phase, you can double cross, putting the Purrely or the Purrely Lily that's in grave as a material, and then of course flip the Yeep, make the Noir. Now it has the quick effect. It's unaffected. Full combo. Oh, and one quick note, even if you don't see the Nimble package, the second you use your Purrely monsters to make a rank 2, now your blue and your jet can summon themselves from the hand for free, setting up the full Spright combo from there. It's pretty dang cool. So that's it for our little level 2 package. You could definitely add more, but it's already very tight on space. We really wanted to fit some non-engine in as well. I've been kind of going back and forth on what tech cards to play, and until the format really establishes itself, I think these are just the best generic cards going forward. First, of course, is 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Just one of the most generic hand traps in the meta right now, while also being very impactful against Labyrinth and, of course, branded as well. Right now, I'm not playing any other hand traps. In time, I could definitely see it changing, especially because the Sleepy Memory allows you to draw into cards, so if you can draw into hand traps, it's always good. But for now, I'm opting to play a little bit more of the power spell cards, first being 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents. This card is so versatile in this deck, especially with the Spright package, because getting into your Link 2s and being able to make Sprint really gets all your combos going, which is probably one of the best cards in the extra deck because of it. But of course, it's also good at ripping cards from your opponent's hand, or even drawing 2 more cards to give you more discard fodder to continue your Purrely combos. And now the last card in the deck I keep going back and forth on. I was main decking the Santa Clauses, but right now they're in the side. But instead, I'm opting to play 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet. I think this card's really neat, especially because it does technically combo with your Angler as well. Arise Heart is a card, so we do have to respect that, and Shifter as well. Personally, I just love this card because of how versatile it is, but also this is technically one of the few answers to the Sanctifier Dragon from Puppet locking you out of the game. In time, we'll see if I have to change these tech cards. Maybe we'll add more hand traps down the line, but for right now, these have been testing really well, and I definitely think you guys should give it a shot yourself. So that's it for the main deck, a solid 40 cards. But before we move to the extra deck, if you're looking to help this channel grow, please make sure you subscribe, like the video, and comment down below. But also, if you're looking to do a bit more, you can click the link down below to Next Level Anime. They're the guys that make the gear I wear now and what I wear at events, and if that's something you're into, you should go check them out. They are so affordable and have such amazing gear to choose from. They have a wide selection of hats, shirts, hoodies, you name it. So much anime gear at a really affordable price. Plus, if you use my code Cards&CoffeeTCG, not only will it save you 10%, keeping money in your pocket, but a portion of the proceeds does go back to the channel, helping me make content for you. But with that out of the way, moving on to the extra deck, starting with the Purrely stuff, we are playing 1 copy of Happiness, 2 copies of Beauty, 2 copies of Plump, and of course 2 copies of Noir. In the build that plays 3 of the Trap, I actually cut the Beauty to 1 because it's so easy to recycle it, but I definitely think this is the bare minimum you should be playing. Plump is something that's very easy to set up because again, all these are just generic rank 2s. But after that, for some of the generic stuff, we have the 1 rank 1, the Nightingale. Obviously, you use this to attack directly and then partner it with Downard, that way you can make way for Zeus. Even though Diablosis is gone, I do find myself wanting to include the 2nd Zeus as well. So like I said, if you do find yourself wanting to add the 2nd and 3rd copy of the Trap, definitely consider cutting the Beauty for another Zeus because it's very easy to set up in this deck. But after that, we are playing 1 random rank 2, and that's the Djinn Buster. Very easy to set up with the Sprites because Blue and Jet are darks. This one doesn't come up as much, and it's definitely the flex slot of the extra deck for me, but there are a lot of times where I have free Spright bodies because I use the Nimbles to do my combo prior. So being able to throw this out freely as another interruption and of course play around something like Nibiru definitely adds another layer to this extra deck that I have been enjoying testing, and I think you guys should try out yourself. After that, again, this isn't a Spright deck, it's more of just a Purrely deck that's teched out with Spright cards, so we have a small Spright package. First, of course, is the 1 gigantic Spright. It's really important to get access to blue, so if you don't draw it, you want to use this to get it so you can get your Jet and your Double Cross. But of course, if you already have access to those cards, then this just brings out an interruption in the form of red or carrot. And then after that, one of the best cards in the extra deck is the Sprint. Usually I'm making this first because it is another potential interruption, but it's just another way to dump the Angler if you didn't open it, getting you more level 2s to go into gigantic Spright, getting you access to blue. But now for the last cards in the extra deck, just 2 generic link 2s that I find come up quite often, and it's the 2 Nightmares, the 1 Phoenix and the 1 Cerberus. At one time, I was testing Masquerena and stuff like Appaloosa or even Unicorn. There's definitely some flexibility in the extra deck, and as time goes on, we will make some changes to address the problems in the meta. But right now, Cerberus is just solid removal for problematic monsters, especially stuff like Baguska. And of course, Nightmare Phoenix is there to out stuff like Anti-Spell or even Tikaboo. But test it out yourself. There's so many options you could choose from, but I'm really enjoying how this deck has been playing. It's so much fun. All right, so really quickly, I just wanted to show you what this deck is trying to do. This first combo is very basic, and it's not even that strong, but it definitely accomplishes a lot. Again, there's going to be so many hands where you have multiple spell cards, or you might have Spright Engine already in hand, so you really don't have to do the combo I'm going to show you, but this again just shows you the very bare bones of what this deck does. And of course, the more pieces you open, the less you'll have to pull out of your deck, making it to where your Noir has 7 or even more materials. So obviously, in the draw phase, we're going to be activating our quick play spell to summon from the deck. Angler will hit the grave, and since we have nothing going on in this hand, we're just going to go straight into Purrely, and we're going to use its effect alongside the Angler. We're going to grab ourselves the Trap, and then of course summon 2 Beavers from the deck. Now again, this is one of those points where if you had 3 of the Trap, you can get the My Friend, and then the My Friend gets you the Yeep, making your board that much more resilient to board breakers. But again, we'll leave that portion of the deck building up to you. But proceeding with the combo, the next thing we have to do actually is going to be linking off this Purrely and of course one of the beavers. Sprint will hit the field, and of course we're actually going to dump a second angler from the deck. I know this might look a little weird, but we need to get that Purrely in the grave because again, we didn't have a lot of quick play spells in our hand. Angler will then hit the grave, and of course we're going to bring out that third beaver from the deck. Now we have 2 level 2s. We can now perform an Exceed summon. Gigantic Spright will hit the field, and then of course we're going to activate the effect to summon from deck. Of course, we're going to be bringing out the good old blue, which will then search us a jet. After that, of course, we're going to special summon the jet from our hand, and then from there, we're going to go ahead and grab us the double cross. The trap gets added to hand, and then, of course, we now have 2 level 2s, so we can go ahead and go straight into our plump. We don't have a delicious memory, so this is not a quick effect, but we will use the effect still, attaching the lonely spell that we have in the grave. Now we have a 3 material plump. We'll set ourselves the double cross and, of course, the Yeep, and now we'll pass our turn. Since we have a sleepy memory as a material, technically we would get to draw a card in the standby phase, but then after that we can activate the double cross, targeting the Purrely in the grave, attaching it as a material, and then still in the standby phase you can now activate your Yeep, summoning Noir on top of the plump. Again, this is a 5 material Noir with a Purrely as a material, so it does have the quick effect, and right now it is unaffected, but in a nutshell, this is the bare minimum that this deck is really trying to do. Plus, don't forget, if you already have the Sprites, then the Gigantic also brings out stuff like Red and Carrot. Oh, and don't forget that Sprint, that's also an interruption right now because we have Gigantic on the field. Now again, I'm not going to show you all these combos, but I can make a separate video, whether it's gameplay or test hands or whatever you guys want. Just let me know down below. But I'll go ahead and show you one more when you open 2 quick play spells with an angler. And again, this doesn't have to be angler. It could be Spright cards, or it could just be a hard summon beaver from hand. But one of the unique things about this combo is the fact that we have a pretty memory in hand. In the draw phase, we're going to activate a pretty memory, pitching the Nimble to summon a Purrely. Since we have 2 quick plays, we're going to go ahead and bring out a Purrely first. That way maybe we get lucky and hit a trap or a My Friend first. The Purrely excavates some cards, and of course the angler summons the beavers. We're going to assume worst case scenario, we'll say we didn't hit anything off of Purrely. But then from there, if you want, you can keep continuing. You can pitch another card, and this time we'll get the Lily. Lily hits the field, and now we'll add the trap to hand. And then similar to the last time, we can link a Purrely off with a level 2. Sprint will hit the field. We'll dump another angler. Angler hits the grave, and another beaver hits the field. Just like last time, we'll go into a Gigantic Spright, with which now we can use the effect to summon out a blue. Just like last time, we'll go blue, then jet, then double cross, then we'll Exceed summon once again into our plump. And now you're actually left with an interesting decision on what to do from here. Like before, I did mention there were times I was playing IP Masquerena, so you could easily link these 2 off into the Masquerena, potentially setting up something like an Appaloosa with Sprint on your opponent's turn. Again, this is already an interruption, so I didn't feel like that was really needed. But the interesting thing about this hand is the fact that we had a sleepy memory in our starting hand. So obviously you could proceed to use the plump, attaching both and then making your Noir like on the last combo. Or since we left the Lily on field, now you can use its effect. It is going to make a rank 2, so it's not going to enter you in any way with your locking in the Sprites. Beauty will hit the field, and then of course now you can use your plump, attaching the 1 spell in your grave. Basically now you have the same ending board, except for now you have an additional interruption. You'll set your 2 traps, you'll pass the turn, standby comes around, you'll draw a card, you'll activate double cross, you'll grab yourself the Purrely. Now you have another material with which we can now activate Yeep. You got your 5 material Noir, and technically I didn't mention it in the last combo, but you're still in standby phase, so since we had the sleepy memory, you do get another card. Don't forget that on the last combo as well. And there you go. Again, a very simple hand to lead to a very awesome combo. So many different iterations of cards get you to a similar place, and of course the more combo pieces you have, the more interruptions you'll end with. Test it out yourself. It's been so much fun to play, but honestly I feel like there might be even something else I'm missing to make this deck even better. So that's gonna wrap things up for today's episode. Thanks again for tuning in. All your support has really been helping this channel grow so much. I think my opinion of the deck is pretty obvious. Even with Delicious at 1, I think it's a powerhouse and a contender in this format. But whether you're playing the Sprites or going blind second or adding Foolish Burial Goods, there are so many different things you can do, and I think with the right format, any of those builds can shine. Once again, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate all the support, and here's hoping to see you guys on the next video. Peace.